What if that frozen duck in your grocery aisle was riskier to ship than luxury electronics? Behind the packaging is a high-tech global game: AI inspections, temperature alerts, moving meat that spoils fast but sells faster, from rural farms to the world's top plates. You ever wonder how a duck goes from a peaceful little paddock in the French countryside or a rice paddy in rural Shandong all the way to a pristine, shrink-wrapped package on a supermarket shelf in Los Angeles or Dubai? Most folks don't. But once you start digging into the layers of this trip, oh man, it's like peeling back the feathers on a mystery full of machines, humans, and cutting-edge tech that's quietly revolutionizing agriculture as we know it. Let's start at ground zero, the farms. Picture a small-scale French duck farmer. Let's call him Marcel. He's been raising ducks the old-fashioned way for decades, feeding them corn mash and letting them waddle freely on his property. You'd be amazed how connected farmers like Marcel are to modern agriculture, even when they're operating out of 200-year-old stone barns. These folks might wear mud-caked boots, but many of them are already tapping into surprisingly advanced technology, precision feeding, health monitoring sensors, even satellite data to track humidity patterns that affect their birds' well-being. Now, shift scenes to China, where a logistics manager named Li Wei oversees a massive cold chain warehouse in Shandong province. His world, its steel, fluorescent lights, blinking monitors, and the hum of refrigeration systems running 24/7. Ducks arrive from nearby farms, and within minutes they're ushered into one of the most tech-saturated environments in the food industry. Here's how it kicks off. Stunning. It's a precise science now. Quick, humane, and controlled, using electric water baths or CO2 chambers. From there, the birds are plucked, and we're not talking about hand plucking under a bare bulb. These are stainless steel feather removal machines that can process dozens of ducks per minute, their rubber fingers rotating with mechanical rhythm, like clockwork made of rubber and metal. Evisceration follows. That's the removal of internal organs, and it's done so efficiently you'd think a surgical team was involved, and in a way it is. Only the surgeons are robotic arms and conveyor belts, programmed down to the millimeter. Now, the magic moment: blast chilling. This part is non-negotiable. Duck meat, being rich in fat, can spoil fast if not chilled quickly. After evisceration, the carcasses are flash-cooled to under 4 degrees C, that's about 39 degrees, in under 4 hours. This slows bacterial growth and preserves that velvety texture duck lovers go crazy for. Without this tech, duck would be a local delicacy only, not something flying halfway across the world in sealed containers. Which brings us to the real MVP of the path: packaging technology. You ever notice how duck meat often looks like it's shrink-wrapped in a spacesuit? That's vacuum sealing. It sucks out the air, especially oxygen, to keep the meat fresh longer. Some processors go even further with nitrogen flushing, where they replace oxygen with inert nitrogen gas to block oxidation. Not only does this extend shelf life, it preserves that deep red color people associate with freshness. And it's not just about freshness, it's also about tracking. Modern packaging isn't just plastic, it's smart. Barcoded labels, often embedded with QR codes and RFID tags, allow producers, logistics teams, and even customs agents to trace every step the duck has taken, from which farm it came from, to when it was slaughtered, to what temperature it's been kept at throughout the supply chain, and in many cases you can trace it right from your phone. What's wild is that this whole operation, whether in a rustic European village or an industrial Chinese hub, relies on a precise choreography of agriculture and technology. Agroforestry might sound like a term better suited for trees and rainforests, but it's quietly being woven into this process too. Ducks raised in multi-use landscapes where trees provide both shade and natural pest control are increasingly being favored by producers who want a greener label. These hybrid ecosystems are marrying sustainable farming with scalable production, a move that's earning trust from eco-conscious markets around the world. So you've got this intricate blend of old-world farming charm and cutting-edge tech. It's not just about feeding the world, it's about doing it smarter, safer, and with a bit of flair. And while most folks picture agriculture as tractors and soil, here's where they're missing the bigger picture. Technology isn't just on the field anymore. It's in the air we remove from packaging, in the algorithms that track product freshness, and in the very DNA of how ducks go from pond to plate. This is where the trip begins. But it doesn't end here, because once those ducks are perfectly packaged, perfectly chilled, and perfectly tracked, well, then the real challenge begins: getting them around the world in one piece without losing an ounce of quality. Let's get one thing straight. Moving duck meat around the world is not for the faint of heart. This isn't shipping cans of beans or bags of rice. We're talking about a product that's perishable, picky, and packed with nuance. And when you toss in the complexity of international borders, climate zones, and consumer preferences, oh boy, you're juggling chainsaws in a wind tunnel. Now, if you've ever handled duck, you know it's not quite like chicken or beef. There's a richness to it, a higher fat content that gives it that silky, indulgent bite. But here's the kicker. That same fat is exactly what makes it trickier to transport. Duck spoils fast if temperatures fluctuate even a little. So what do exporters do? They double down on cold chain logistics. That means maintaining a rock-solid temperature, often below 18 degrees, 0 degrees Celsius, from the moment the duck is chilled until the minute it hits the consumer's hands. It's an unbroken cold symphony, and if a single note is off, you've got a container full of spoiled product, thousands of dollars down the drain, and a frustrated buyer on the other end. Now enter border inspections. Oh yes, the red tape is real. Every country has its own list of approved slaughterhouses, testing protocols and documentation. Some want a veterinary health certificate issued within 48 hours of departure. Others want lab tests showing the absence of avian pathogens. A handful demand extra tests if the ducks are coming from regions recently flagged for avian flu, and if just one document is off, say the barcode on the packaging doesn't match the shipping manifest, that entire shipment could be held, rejected, or even destroyed. Talk about high stakes. Remember Lee Wei from earlier? His job doesn't stop at packaging. He has to ensure that each batch of duck meat passes not only local standards, but also aligns with the importing country's complex web of regulations. This is where tech really steps in again. These days, digital certification platforms are cutting down wait times and reducing human error. The agriculture industry is leaning heavily on tech here, not just to speed things up, but to protect the product's integrity every step of the way. Then there's geography. Oh man, geography plays hardball in this game. The Middle East? They've got a strong appetite for whole frozen ducks, especially for traditional dishes served during religious feasts. In contrast, markets like the US or Japan lean into boneless duck breast or foie gras. And if you're shipping to Hong Kong, you better be packing duck tongues, because they're considered a delicacy there. This isn't just a quirky fact, it's a logistical headache. Suppliers have to sort, package, and label different cuts for different markets, sometimes all from the same production batch, which means the supply chain has to be wicked smart and super flexible. Now let's talk freight. You've got two main options, sea or air. Sea freight is cheaper, by a lot. You can pack massive quantities into reefer containers and ship them across oceans at a fraction of the cost. But here's the catch. It takes time. We're talking weeks, sometimes over a month, depending on the route. That's fine if you're shipping frozen duck, but if the order calls for chilled meat, forget it. Unless you're pulling some next-level preservation tech, that freshness clock is ticking. So that's where air freight comes in. Yes, it's fast. Ducks can leave a farm in Europe on Monday and be plated in a restaurant in Singapore by Thursday, but it's pricey, real pricey. That's why timing is everything, especially around peak demand seasons like Lunar New Year, Christmas, or Eid. During those windows, demand for duck meat skyrockets and everyone's scrambling for space on cargo planes. Prices surge, availability tightens, and if you don't have your logistics on lock, you're out of the game. And let's not forget those surprise curveballs. A sudden outbreak of avian flu in a major production hub can halt exports overnight. I'm talking flight cancellations, port refusals, and full-blown market panic. Importers scramble to find alternative suppliers, often from countries with less volume or higher prices. It's like a supply chain version of musical chairs, and when the music stops, someone's always left standing. It's in these moments that the smart players shine. The ones who've invested in real-time tracking, diversified sourcing, and adaptive tech platforms can pivot fast. The others? They're left writing apology emails and absorbing financial hits. You see, this isn't just agriculture anymore. It's a global chess match played with perishables, and every move matters, from how you chill the meat to the certifications you file to which port you choose and how you prep for seasonal demand. It's all part of a bigger system powered by both tradition and next-gen technology. What's wild is how much of this orchestration goes unnoticed by the average consumer. They just see a beautiful duck breast at their local grocery store or bite into a confit leg at a five-star restaurant. What they don't see? The intricate ballet behind it. The planning, the paperwork, the problem-solving. It's all invisible until it's not. And just when you think you've seen it all, the industry throws another curveball. Because the future? It's getting smarter, greener, more agile. And believe it or not, some of the most surprising innovations aren't coming from where you'd expect. You'd think we've reached the peak of sophistication after chilling duck meat to near cryogenic levels and threading it through a global maze of ports, planes, and paperwork. But nope, the real magic? It's happening right now, quietly, behind the scenes, with innovation that would make even Silicon Valley blink twice. Let's talk about AI. Yeah, you heard that right. Artificial intelligence is no longer just the stuff of apps and sci-fi movies. It's reshaping how duck meat moves across continents. Imagine this, an algorithm sipping on terabytes of weather data, port activity reports, and market demand trends. Its job? To predict the best possible shipping route for a container of frozen duck, minimizing spoilage risks and maximizing freshness. That means if a typhoon's brewing near the Taiwan Strait or a dock strike is about to jam up Rotterdam, the AI reroutes your shipment before you even know there's a problem. It's proactive, sharp, the kind of thing that saves not only time and money, but also tons of meat from spoilage. And let's be real, that's just smart agriculture management layered with a healthy dose of tech brilliance. But the innovation doesn't stop at logistics. Packaging is getting a sustainable glow-up too. Traditional plastic vacuum seals? Still common, but now we're seeing a shift toward biodegradable alternatives made from seaweed polymers or plant-based resins. These materials are tough enough to preserve duck meat during long-haul shipping, but break down in a fraction of the time once discarded. Some processors are even experimenting with edible films. Imagine packaging that melts off in hot water or composts in your garden. It's a small revolution with massive impact, especially in Europe, where eco-regulations are tightening faster than a shrink wrap under heat. And let's face it, modern consumers care. They want their duck confit with a side of sustainability. And speaking of Europe, let's spotlight one of the boldest moves the industry's pulled off in recent years: carbon offset duck exports. Sounds wild, right? But here's how it works. Every shipment of duck meat from, say, France to Singapore is calculated for its total carbon footprint. The exporter then invests in renewable energy, reforestation, or clean water projects to balance that impact. It's a win-win. The ducks still fly, well, metaphorically, and the environment gets a little breather. But wait, it gets weirder. Ever heard of duck tongues from Poland being served in Hong Kong? Yeah, that's a thing. In fact, it's a delicacy in several East Asian cultures. Lightly seasoned, often stir-fried or grilled, duck tongues have become so popular in Hong Kong's late-night dining scene that demand regularly outpaces supply. Polish exporters, usually known for pork and poultry, spotted the niche and jumped on it. They carved out a new market segment almost overnight by turning what was once a byproduct into a high-value item. That's the kind of agility most people don't associate with agriculture. But that's the thing. This isn't just farming anymore. It's strategy, it's tech, it's seeing opportunities where others see leftovers. And it's not just the product, it's the process too. Take smart containers, for instance. These aren't your average refrigerated boxes. These are ultra-intelligent mobile environments that constantly monitor temperature, humidity, and even shock levels. If the internal temp shifts by as little as 0.5 degrees Celsius, the system sends an alert to the handler's phone. Think about that. A metal box floating in the Pacific can talk to a logistics manager sipping coffee in Warsaw. That's not just cool, it's game-changing. What's even better, these containers can auto-adjust. If power dips or temperatures fluctuate, internal systems compensate in real time. They'll boost airflow, adjust cooling rates, and even log the incident for post-shipment review. That kind of visibility turns what used to be a gamble into a precise, controlled operation. And guess what? This visibility translates into trust. When a buyer in the UAE knows that their duck breast shipment was kept at exactly 18.5 degrees Celsius for 21 days straight, without a single fluctuation, they're not just relieved, they're loyal. That trust becomes currency. In a crowded market, transparency wins. It's also creating unexpected collaborations. Tech companies that used to focus on smartphones or smart homes are now stepping into food logistics. Developers are building dashboards for meat exporters, integrating blockchain to verify supply chain events. Even agri-tech startups, those scrappy disruptors, are getting funding to create tracking solutions tailored for meat distribution. In some cases, you've got former aerospace engineers designing thermal packaging that mimics space shuttle insulation. Why? Because if it can protect a satellite, it can definitely keep duck meat frozen mid-flight. The convergence of agriculture, technology, and global strategy is happening faster than anyone predicted. And duck, believe it or not, is at the center of it all. It's a humble product turned high-tech protagonist, a symbol of how even the most traditional sectors are transforming under pressure from climate, commerce, and consumer consciousness. So the next time someone says, "It's just food," you'll know better. You'll remember that behind every tender, glazed duck leg is a symphony of innovation, from AI to agroforestry, logistics to sustainability. And while duck tongues flying from Poland to Hong Kong might raise an eyebrow or two, they're really just a sign of how connected, creative, and clever this industry has become. And yet, there's more happening. Just beneath the surface, a broader story's unfolding, one that ties this global network into something even deeper, even more eye-opening. Surprised by how duck travels the world? Tell us what caught you off guard. Tap subscribe, turn on notifications, and keep watching. There's more the food industry won't tell you.